is happening, Blades? Welcome back to the Blades Ramble. Thank you for joining us. And today, well, I feel like a proper YouTuber now because I get to respond to some online hate. It's ridiculous. Honestly, all of this is daft. Obviously, we're all aware Illiman's gone or is just about to go. With that comes a lot of emotion and a lot of people going back and forth on how they feel about it, and some can understand it, some are happy with taking the money, some blame the Prince, some blame Illiman. We're all going to have an opinion, and this is the place where we talk about everybody's opinion and value everybody's opinion. I love that about our spaces because we can all come and we're all accepted for whatever view we have, as long as it's not disrespectful. And the problem I've got is I see things like Sheffield United away, but they have got an upcoming interview with Prince on Friday. I think they're recording. Whether it can come out around that time, I don't know, but it's certainly coming up. And this sort of term that they're the lapdogs of the Prince, and now because I've spoken to the Prince and announced that the Prince is coming on the Ramble, likely around January time to discuss whatever's going on with the club then, that must mean I'm in his pocket as well, and I'm spreading the word of the Prince. Well, I can tell you, there's no further from the truth. What I have to say is, if we've got the opportunity to interview the owner of Sheffield United and find out everything that we want to know as fans, why wouldn't we take that opportunity? Why? And part of getting that opportunity is being respectful. And that doesn't mean being a shill. That doesn't mean spinning things in the club's favour. Because I'll tell you now, if the club doesn't spend this Illiman money in the right places, I will be just as vocal as some of you have been. But what I won't be is disrespectful, get out of our club. I consider myself very lucky to be in a position where I do know a little bit about what's gone off. This was Illiman and Dye's decision and no one else's. And when I say that, I don't mean his agent hasn't persuaded him or his family hasn't. I'm sure they have. But we did absolutely everything we can as a club to keep him here, as we have done in previous windows when the opportunity's been there for him to go. And what makes me laugh is, again, I'm going to try and be as respectful as I can because I just don't get the mentality. So the Prince has obviously met with Nick and Hal, told them some information, and what we can only assume is approved for information to be released. And that's Austin Trusty. He's on his way to United, left centre back, quick, strong. He's had a medical, we've agreed a fee, just a few more personal details to sort. Nick and Hal had spoken to the Prince, released that on Sheffield United way. I then come on today to see one of our ex-players, somebody who I have a lot of respect for, and I think he's a brilliant co-commentator. I really appreciate his insight. Carlos Saba, come on, talking about, he thinks it's an absolute, I've got tweets here, he thinks it's a disgrace that things are leaked and all this sort of thing, and it's unprofessional or whatever he says, because I ain't got it to hand, but I'll put it up on screen. But it makes me laugh, and the reason it makes me laugh, what he's saying is Nick and Hal, and I'm sure Darren, it's a very passive-aggressive sort of style from Carl, which is disappointing. But I get the fact that he's annoyed about it, no problem. 2 points. First one is, do you think that's helpful? Do you think that's uniting the club by somebody so close to the club that works for the club is having a go at the club for how they release information and splitting the fan base and sort of forcing them against the owner even further? I don't think that's the smartest move. And that's not me being a smart ass. That's me being... I get what he's saying is it can be divisive for the club and it can, cause problems, but his comments alone are very divisive. It's been seen by 20,000 people, one of these tweets, so it's very influential, and I just think it's out of order. But the thing that makes me laugh is, and I'm always mentioning Nath Hemmingham and Danny Hall, who I also get some stick online. It comes with the territory, and we've got to have hard skin and all that sort of stuff, and I don't mind any of this. They get stick online from a lot of fans. Sabs is more than happy to big them up, and more power to him, saying they're not puppets and they're not propaganda merchants. But the real problem he has is when targets are leaked and they're not signed and sealed by the club. Well, what's this? And again, I have no problem with Danny and Nath. It's their job to report on rumours and things like that, and we like doing it as YouTube channels. I just think it's a bit offside, really, from Saabs. And listen, as I say, I respect him, and he's done far more in the game than I'll ever do. An ex-pro, been there, done it. So he's in a much better position to comment on these sort of things. But from my opinion, and that's all it is, I think it's poor from him. Let me know what you think. Listen, we're all going to be upset about Illiman going, and we can't replace him like for like. But there are players on the way, and I can tell you that firsthand. I can only be open and honest with you about the fact that I agree. I agree with how the club has handled it. You've seen in the news, or you may have seen, we'd prepared a contract extension video with Billy Sharp commentating over the top, saying he were happy for him to have the number 10 and wishing him all the best, and that all the media team had been involved. And then Illiman changed his mind. Does he look unhappy to be at Marseille? Does it look like we've forced him to move? It's ridiculous. Again, this sounds off, and I don't mean it to, but there's a lot more we could say if we did want to ruin transfer targets and things. But I've seen news plastered all over today about Vinny Suarez now. Well, if I'd have leaked that or broken that story, which I knew about, or if Nick had have leaked that story, which he knew about, then is it bad because we've done it, but it's okay because Danny's done it? It comes on, and it's that I don't want to appear salty, but I think it can't just go one way without us having at least a say on it. And we've got a platform where I can come on and at least say my piece. So I appreciate everybody taking time to watch this, and I'm more than happy to have a debate with anybody on it. And it don't mean I'll agree with you, and it don't mean you'll agree with me, but I'll always be honest with you, and I'll tell you what's going off. There's certain bits of information that I've been asked specifically not to share, so I won't do it. But everything else, if the club say it's fair game, then why wouldn't I want to? We do this because we love it and because we love the club. I always try, and I think Nick's the same, even though we deliver different content, I always try to put a positive spin on stuff. And that's not always easy for me, because I can be open and honest with you and tell you, I don't think Jack Robinson's good enough. I don't think Max Lowe's good enough. I don't think Ozzy, Fleck, Wes, Jebo are good enough. So I don't know what else I need to say. Is that me sticking up for the club, or is that me saying there's a lot of work to do here? We've just sold our best player, which undoubtedly weakens us for a Premier League campaign. But what we've also done is let an unhappy player leave at his request, got some money back in for him, and we're going to use that money to reinvest again. So I get we're all upset about Ellie going. It's sad that we won't get to see him play in the Premier League, but I also think there's positives to this. There's no longer a willy won't he hanging over our heads. There's no longer that absolute necessity to stay in the Premier League because our best player is going to walk out for nothing. I don't think keeping an unhappy player at the club is good for the other players to see either. Well, if I ask to move, or if somebody comes in for me, are they going to hold me here? It might stop future transfers coming in, thinking, well, that club hasn't been very fair with that player. So, and I get the old contract talk, and we can debate about that as well. But I just wanted to come on here and just let you know our side of it a little bit, because I think if you were in the same shoes, you'd probably do this, and this is obviously only to a minority of people. The vast majority have been really supportive, and that we do appreciate. And I'm talking on behalf of Nick here, and I shouldn't really speak for him, but the support massively outweighs the detractors, and we're always going to get detractors. I'm not trying to change people's minds, but I'm just trying to give back a little bit. So one thing I can say going forward is I will always bring to you everything I'm able to. No problem with that. And sometimes the club won't be happy with it, and ex-players clearly won't be happy with it. It's not going to change how we do things, unfortunately, for some. I think people want to hear who we're linked with. I think people want to hear who's happy at the club, who's unhappy at the club, you know, whether we're offering them a decent contract or not, and the club's not going to like that. The club don't want me talking about figures, but I'm going to do it because as a fan, it's what I'd want to hear. I want to know what's going on at my club. And if it had been the other way around, and Illiman was saying, well, I want to stay for another season, but the club were saying, no, we need to cash in on you now, I'd be against the club in that as well. I won't be giving it much airtime going forward, but I thought it were important that I just got our stance out there. So we have got players lined up. You've seen Malik Tillman being linked. You've seen Vinny Souza linked, and we'll be doing some player breakdowns on these targets because they look like very exciting prospects. It not only fills an attacking midfield void in Tillman, but it also fills the Norwood/Doyle role with Souza. So things are moving, and things are moving in a positive direction. The age of the squad is coming down as well. If you look at some of the profiles that we've signed and that we're going to be in for, I think it's exciting times at the Lane. We were always going to have to make a difficult decision on Illiman one way or the other, and it stings because it's so close to the start of the season. Berger's going to be in the same boat. We're going to have to make a decision on him sooner or later. So let me know what you think. Thank you to those that have commented positively, and I'll continue to do what I can to bring you the best Sheffield United news we can, and updates and rumours, and it even says it on intro, doesn't it? That's what we're about. So we can agree to disagree, Sabs. But again, if you want to come on, mate, and debate it, you're more than welcome. But for now, come on, you red and white wizards. Up the blades! Ramble on!